Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. Just like you, I'm an independent retail business owner. I love the home decor and gift boutique I co-own with my sister, but I don't want it to consume me or my life. Join me each week as I share lessons learned, helpful tips, and valuable information for your retail business and life. Whether you're buying your products or making your products, whether you're a $25K business or a $2.5 million business, I'm on a mission to help indie retailers work less, profit more, and grow. Let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to episode 122 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast, the 2022 Savvy Shopkeeper Retreat. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. My intention for this episode is pretty simple. It's to let you know that ticket sales are open for this year's retreat and to share some of the details with you, like the what, the when, the where, the how, the why, along with what attendees said about last year's retreat, because I think that's important. Before I get started, I want to give a fun shout out to Brandon of Blossom Flower Bar for listening to this podcast and recommending Savvy Shopkeeper to his wife, not realizing that I was local to them, to him and his wife. I'm a customer of Blossom Flower Bar, and I was already his wife's friend. More like a business acquaintance friend, I'll say. When his wife, Megan, told me this story, we both laughed, and I was a bit taken aback by the power of this podcast. Small world, right? Brandon, thank you for listening and for recommending me to your wife, who I adore, by the way, and she knows it. We'll be sure to link Blossom Flower Bar's Instagram page in the show notes for this episode because, trust me, you want to follow Megan and everything she does. All of her floral arrangements and everything she does with her business is just gorgeous. Okay, so let's get started talking about this year's retreat because I am so excited. Now, I try not to publish too many episodes that are time sensitive. However, just like last year, there's just way too much information about this retreat to share in a short email newsletter. And the podcast, is really the best and easiest way I can communicate with so many of you. So here I am. Before I get started, you should know that as of this recording on April 27th, 2022, 65% of the seats have already been claimed for the retreat. And you might be wondering why. And it's because I offered the tickets to existing and current group members now. So I offered them to master shopkeepers for the first week, and then I offered the tickets to lab members in the second week. And now I'm offering the tickets to everyone else. So a lot of the seats are taken, but there are still some seats to claim. Okay, so let's get started on the what. The 2022 Savvy Shopkeeper Retreat, I can honestly say, is not your typical business conference. It is a beautifully curated, intimate 2-day event where independent retailers can refresh their minds, they can get inspired, and that definitely happens, and they can find time to work on strategy and work on their businesses and get a little support at the same time. This year's theme is focused on foundation, build an unshakable retail business. So many of us retailers, we jump in feet first when we open our stores, right? And then we either forget or we don't have time, or we never educate ourselves about the things we can do to lay a solid foundation for our retail businesses. This is probably hands down the number one thing I've learned in the past year about group members. So I can honestly say that no matter where you are on your journey, the educational sessions that go with this year's theme will apply to your business. You're going to be able to use all of the content or most of the content that I'll be providing during this retreat. Next is, when is the retreat? The retreat will be on Sunday, September 18th and Monday, September 19th, 2022 from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. And 8:30 a.m. is a little bit of like registration process, definitely breakfast, and the day ends at 4. So I want to make sure that you know that so you can plan travel accordingly. And then I also offer a special and optional VIP dinner on Sunday night. And I can honestly say almost everyone buys the ticket. And then the people who didn't buy the ticket last year, they came up to me and said, "Can I buy a ticket? I really want to attend tonight." So it's worth it. It's so good. Last year's VIP dinner was probably the highlight for a lot of attendees. And I will say mostly because I interviewed April, the owner of Fruchthaven Farm. And her husband was there, who's also the owner, and it was just a cute and sweet dynamic between the two of them. April's so charming. She told a lot of her story, and everyone genuinely appreciated it. I plan on doing something special again this year for the VIP dinner. And not only is the locally catered meal incredible, but there's live music and there's the coolest vintage camper bar service. So shout out to Black Barrel Bar. Pretty sure I got that right. That was one of the highlights for me. My sister restores vintage campers, and I love that she does that with her husband. So seeing that camper pull up right before the VIP dinner last year was really cool. Most attendees arrive on Saturday, and then the event or the retreat is Sunday, Monday. And then I would say half probably leave right after the retreat ends at 4 p.m. Or some actually chose and made a conscious decision to extend the trip one extra night. And it was actually really smart of them because they said they needed that extra night and that time alone to process everything that they had taken in. Do what works for you, whether you leave right after the retreat ends on Monday or whether you leave the next morning, or if you want to stay in Michigan for a week, it's completely up to you, right? The next thing I want to talk about is where. So this year's retreat will again be hosted at Fruchthaven Farm in Greenville, Michigan. The property is owned, like I mentioned, by Master Shopkeepers group member April Peterson and her husband Mike, and it's just so incredibly perfect for the vibe and style of this non-business conference. The farm is so many things. It's a boutique store. The name of the store is called Pink and Frillos. It's an apple orchard. It's a cidery. It's a coffee shop. And I have to say, it's a really cool branded coffee shop. It's an event venue. It has 2 restored 100-year-old barns. They make and sell donuts there. I mean, there's so much to this property. It is very calm and very cool all at the same time. And I want to add that working with the event planner at Fruchthaven Farm, her name is Kristen, huge shout out to Kristen. She really sees my vision for this retreat, and I have to give her so much credit because she takes my vision and makes it happen. And it's almost too easy not to host it at the farm, and I'm so grateful for her. So retreat attendees will have access to the entire farm property except the apple orchard during this retreat. When you visit the retreat page on my website, it's savvyshopkeeper.com/retreat. I'm going to say it one more time. savvyshopkeeper.com/retreat. You'll see a section with frequently asked questions where I answer a lot of the questions that I get about the retreat. And probably the one I get the most is, can I buy a virtual ticket? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. And it's for 2 reasons. The venue and the structure of the really old barn that we're in, it's really cool and it's amazing and it's gorgeous, but it just isn't ideal for recording. We do a little bit of recording in there, but we're limiting it. And because I don't want to lose the intimacy of this event with cameras everywhere. So I don't offer a virtual ticket. Is it possible that I'll offer one at future retreats? Yes, I would consider it, but again, for this year, we're not. On the retreat website page, I also share details about rooms that we have blocked at 2 local hotels, other accommodation options, the closest airport, car rental, phone numbers with, reservation phone numbers, and a lot more. I really try to answer all or most questions on that single retreat page. So make sure when you visit the retreat page that you take your time and read through everything. Included is a COVID policy in terms of buying your ticket, all the stuff. So make sure you take your time with it. There's a lot on there. The next thing that I want to talk about is the how, which is really like, how am I going to deliver this retreat? How am I going to deliver the content? And it's really in the itinerary. That's where the details are. You'll also see the 2-day itinerary on the retreat page on my website. And the itinerary is really very intentional. I also said this last year. Knowing how much and how hard shopkeepers work, I want to create 2 full days where once you arrive at the farm, you don't have to figure anything else out. You don't have to bring anything. You don't have to figure out where to go to lunch. You don't have to figure out where to park. You don't have to worry about timing or where you're going to go for your next session. And you definitely won't go hungry. There are food and beverages served all day, including snacks. Because if you know me, snacks are important. I just don't want you to worry about any other detail once you get there. You can park your car in the parking lot. You can walk over from the hotel if you're staying at the American, which is the closest one. And although I think that is completely booked at this point, but it's easy once you get there, I guess is my point. The day and the details are figured out for you. And you don't have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off. You really don't. There's time to connect. There's plenty of photo opportunities, again, because the farm property is gorgeous. This year, we're even offering a Zen Zone session where it will be led by a yoga instructor, but you can actually choose little quiet areas if you want to journal, if you want to draw, if you want to do like a short yoga session, I think she's even offering, if you want to meditate. It's going to have all these little zones that you can pick and choose. If you're an introvert like me, you will really appreciate that. Maybe you want to break from having conversations. Maybe you want to break from people. I want to make sure that if you want to socialize, you socialize. If you want quiet time, you get quiet time. Plus, there will be breakout sessions with 2 different speakers this year. I'll open and close and teach 3 presentations myself. Plus, I give away door prizes, and there's so much more. I can't pack it all in here. After last year's retreat, I can honestly tell you that although there's plenty of downtime, there's also time to work on your business. Not to mention the amount of inspiration and motivation that it breeds within the barn or within all of the conversations and all of the connections people make. And across the farm, no matter where you are, everyone just soaks it all up. It's incredible. And the next thing that I want to talk about is the why. Why am I hosting this retreat? Why did I do it last year and why am I doing it again this year? And it's because we deserve to be pampered. We really do. We deserve to reward ourselves. We deserve to invest in ourselves. We deserve to surround ourselves with shopkeepers who align with the way we run our businesses. And equally important, we deserve to have fun, right? So many times we're so weighed down by our businesses or by the expectations we put on ourselves or by what, we're so worried about what other people are thinking, which I'm hoping to change all of that in you. I just think it's an opportunity to have a little bit of everything, the fun, the business, the connections, the inspiration. And yes, this is an investment in you and your business. The ticket price includes food, beverages, content, a cool swag bag. The swag bag last year was amazing. I've said this in the past, but I have invested in myself more over the past 2 years than ever, and it has paid off. Way more than you could probably imagine. And I say this to all of you too, it's okay. It's more than okay if you invest in yourself. This isn't a ticket for $99. It's definitely not. I know it's a splurge, but I'm watching my group members do the same thing. I'm watching them invest in themselves, particularly Master Shopkeepers members. And I watched retreat attendees reap the benefits last year too. So I want to share some of the things that they said after the 2021 retreat. Someone said, "I can't think of a better group and leader to spend this journey with. It was spectacular, my friend." Someone else said, 100% living on the post-retreat high today. Smiling with all the memories and new thoughts running through my brain, it's going to take me a few days to process all the thought gems. I loved every minute! Exclamation point. Someone else said, I drove about 5 hours in silence, still absorbing everything. This was exactly what a retreat should be. And the group member who actually gave this feedback after last year's retreat, it was interesting because she recently reached out to me and told me that she realized over the past year that the reason her business has grown, or part of the reason, I probably can't take all the credit, but part of the reason was because of the retreat. It shifted her mindset. Those are the words she used, I think. I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, she said, the retreat had such a mind shift for me. And it was really interesting because she sent me an email to share this story with me, but it was because a friend in the group called her and told her, hey, I've noticed how much your business has grown and how much you've changed since the retreat. And she wanted to let me know, yeah, it was because of the retreat. And I thought that was so cool. Someone else said, I knew when I found Master Shopkeepers, this was an incredible group of people, but after meeting a lot of them in person, I feel it's an even more extraordinary group that I can learn from and lean on. This was an absolutely lovely event. Thank you so much, April and Fruchthaven Farm. I feel guilty calling it a business retreat. Now, I want to add that this isn't just for, Savvy Shopkeeper group members. It's open to everyone. That's why I'm sharing this podcast, because we have some seats. So please do not feel like you might be an outsider. Everyone is welcome. Every retailer is welcome. And regardless of whether you're a group member or not, I feel pretty confident that you'll still appreciate this retreat. Okay, someone else said it was an incredible experience that changed us and will help our business for years to come. So on this one, I want to touch upon the fact that quite a few couples, partners, husbands, wives, participated and bought tickets. They each bought tickets to attend last year's event. I was surprised by this. I don't know why, but I'm happy to say that a lot of them are returning. All of the same couples are returning, and we had even more couples book this retreat so far. So again, it's pretty cool. I love that they're supporting each other, encouraging each other. And again, some of them are business partners and some are not. And then the last quote that I want to share, which really I appreciate, someone said, I learned more here in half a day than I have in 10 years as a shop owner. Wow. I'm going to say that one more time. She said, I learned more here in half a day than I have in 10 years as a shop owner. So this particular person, she was not a Master Shopkeepers member. She wasn't a group member last year. She has joined since then. I know who this is. And if you're listening, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. That one kind of blew me away. So like I mentioned earlier, more than half the seats have been taken at this point, and I do think this event will sell out. I'm really looking forward to seeing and hugging so many of you in person, to the conversations we'll have and the connections we'll make. If you've been considering this retreat or what I just described struck a chord with you, I genuinely hope you'll join us. Trust me, you are worth it. You're worth it. If you want to see the show notes to this episode or find links to anything I mentioned, visit my blog at savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 122. I'm going to say it one more time because I talk fast. savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 122. And if you want to learn more about the retreat, the details, the 2-day itinerary, and everything else that I might have mentioned or what I might have missed, because there's still more, you can visit savvyshopkeeper.com/retreat. On that page too, I want to mention that you can also watch a YouTube video. It's a recap of last year's retreat. So I think that's kind of cool too. All this to say, if you want to attend this retreat, I don't know how long tickets will be available for. I'm going to encourage you to sign up sooner than later so you don't miss out. Because of the size of the barn, we can only fit so many people in it. That's where we host the big presentations, and I do my intro, and I do, I wrap up the retreat there. So I can only offer so many tickets, and once this is closed, it's closed. So go grab your seat. Until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.